Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another weekly outlook video. So before I get started this week, I had a question from one of my friends earlier on this week, and they basically asked how did I learn the strategy that I use today. And I thought I would just obviously pay respects where respect is due. So I was actually introduced to Forex by a friend of mine, which I've mentioned in my first video, I think, on the channel. And he taught me, I'd probably say, in 70–80% of what I probably do today. Obviously I say 70 or 80% because I took what he showed me and just adapted it to my own style of trading, something that suited me and suited my personality. But yeah, he has also started a YouTube channel. This is his channel here, KR0785, and he does some analysis as well. He focuses predominantly on a couple of pairs, so he doesn't do all the pairs like I do. But he kind of hones in on a particular set of pairs, and he focuses on trading predominantly channels, trend lines, and zones. So I still use a lot of what he taught me in my current analysis with my trend lines and zones and stuff. Is something that I found to be very, very powerful, with a very, very powerful approach to trading. So, hats off to him. I suggest, if you're interested in learning more, you can go check out his channel and check out the way he trades. Another person that taught me a lot was this guy I found on, I call him this guy. This guy I found on YouTube. His name is Nick Sean. And he opened my eyes to a different, a more pinpoint, more simple way of looking at the markets. So I picked up my break and retest approach together with following the trend from him, right? And he teaches a lot of his stuff for free here on his YouTube channel. Like there's a lot of videos, right? But it teaches you a lot. He puts a lot out there for free, and he also runs a community called Mission FX. It's a really good community. I decided to join the community about a couple months ago, probably about, I don't know, maybe about 5 or 6 months ago. I'm not sure, but a little while ago anyway. And it's been really good. He has a course on there that he teaches. But for the most part, I'm in the community because I wanted to be part of like a little Forex family. It's always good to be around people that are, well, one who, Nick is obviously in the position I would like to be in the future, right? So it's always good to be around people and follow people that you want to emulate. So if I can end up in his position with trading, then I'd consider myself to be a success, right? So that was one reason. And then two, obviously, it's always good to be around people that are also on the same journey that you are, right? So aspiring traders, people who want to take their trading to the next level. And that community has a lot of like-minded people in it. So if you're interested, I suggest obviously checking out his channel. Lots of stuff here for free, and his community is also really good. So yeah, these two guys, hats off to you. Thank you for everything you taught me to this date, and hopefully we have a good trading year together. All right, so on to analysis for the week. So I already went through a couple of the pairs. I removed a couple from my watch list, highlighted a couple more. So I'll just kind of run through those pairs as to what I'll be looking for this upcoming week. So I'll start with GBPAUD as usual. So last week, what I was looking for was a breakthrough of this level come back up, retest to further drop south. But what we saw instead was a bounce from this level, you know, come back up to test this kind of shoddy trend line, and you know, in and around this minor 4-hour zone, right? So nothing, no setups for me on this pair that I'd be looking at. But what I would look for is if my bias was to change to go, you know, for, you know, to go long, then I'd look for a break of this trend line, retest, and some sort of price action that shows, you know, price wants to make that further move up, right? So you know, I'll just want to keep an eye on this to see what happens. Or what we might actually see is from this area here, because of this trend line and this sort of level, you know, I can extend this level all the way back to the past, right? You might see price actually just drop from this level, right? So I'll just keep an eye on it. I think it's an interesting pair to look at this week. And if I see some sort of price action that I like, I'll be looking at a trade on this pair. Right, onto GBPCAD. So based off of last week's analysis, what I was looking for was a trade off of this level here, right? I missed my entry. I think this set up in London for me. So I missed entry here, so I would have taken this trade back up back up to these previous highs. Maybe I might have targeted this high here, or you know, but I missed entry on this, so I didn't take any trades last week on this. So this week, you know, what I'd be looking for here is based on where price is, what we might see, because you have this, I mean, the zones aren't 100% clear, right? So let me just zoom out a little bit, right? So you kind of have this zone here that was respected as support, kind of broke through, came back, tested it as resistance, then broke through, tested it as a support, bounced, broke through, tested it as resistance, and then here it started to get very messy, right? So I'm not looking for any potential trades in this area just yet, but what we could see is price kind of push back into the level, consolidate a bit, go back up to the top, and you know, we might see that sort of price action here. Or what we might see is price breakthrough with momentum lower, and if we see that, then I'd probably look for it to come back up, retest with rejection, and then look for it to complete these lows, right? So that's the move I'd be looking for. May not be this week, might be coming weeks, I don't know, but we'll see, right? Yeah, I think that might be interesting to keep an eye on. So I'll keep an eye on it. Okay. GBPCHF, right? So we had GBPCHF made this massive sell-off back. I think this was like coronavirus time, right? Then it did a rebound, and since it had a rebound, I think this might have been like probably like a 50% pullback. So let's have a look. Not that it matters, but it'll be interesting to see. So we have absolute height, absolute low. Yeah, I guess 618. So it pulled back up to, you know, 61.8, and the consolidation has kind of been split, kind of in the middle of this 50%, right? So 50% of this move is kind of the median of this consolidation area. And not that it matters, but it's just something I like to look at. So it started consolidating from the 618 pullback back in April last year, right? And it's kind of been in this consolidation area ever since. But what I noticed about the consolidation is that every time it goes down hard, and it recovers slowly, right? Goes down hard and then recovers slowly. Goes down hard and then it's recovering slowly. So what we might see, right, is if I am to be bullish on this pair, then I'd like to see a clear breakthrough, right? A clear breakthrough of these highs, come back down, retest, and then with rejection, and then look for longs, targeting the previous highs. That will be a completion of the full recovery, because right now, as I showed you, right, it only recovered, I guess, roughly 50% because it's been consolidating. But to complete the full recovery of this massive sell-off, I'd like to see a break, retest, and then look for further long positions targeting these highs, right? If I was to be taking trades inside the consolidation, obviously I wouldn't be taking any positions right at this level because of how close it is to the highs and this sort of resistance. So what I'd look for is this trend line can probably go. That's a lower time frame trend line. Alright, so I guess this would probably go as well. Don't really need any trend lines here. Alright, so what I'd be looking for is price to push lower and form a lower low, then form a lower high, and then maybe if there's some sort of like, I don't know, maybe if it respects these kind of minor levels in here, I'll drop to like the, I'll just draw it in. I'll drop to like the lower time frame, so like maybe like the 4 hour. So there's this level here, this level here, this high here, this sort of level here, here. Right, so I'll probably drop to the lower time frame and look for some sort of an entry there, maybe. But until that happens, then and only then I'd be looking for entries to go to sell within the range, right? So we'd be looking for some sort of price action like that, right? And if we see that forming, then I'll look for short positions here. GBPJPY. So this analysis is playing out just as expected from last week's analysis. So I did analysis back here around this level, and I said, well, if I was to be bullish on this pair, I'd want to see a strong move up, come back down, retest, and then go look for further long positions after some rejections at the level. But what we saw was price rejected the level, or respecting the level, and had this bearish engulfing candle that formed on Friday. So what we might see, who knows, right? It might actually bounce from this level and continue long, or we just might see it trickle back down into this trend line or this zone area. Because of how price has kind of been moving, I'm not 100% sure. It's kind of a rangy uptrend. So we'll see, right? I'll wait to see what sort of price action is happening, and if I start to see this sort of lower highs, lower lows being formed, right, probably on the lower time frames, then I'll look for short positions within this kind of messy consolidation. I don't really like to sell within an uptrend, so I'd be favoring buys. So I don't know, maybe I'll just probably wait to see what happens, right? If it comes back to this level, then I'll probably look for a long position. I don't know. We'll have to see what price action is forming here. It's red, so it's a little ways off. But yeah, something to keep an eye on for me. GBPNZD. Right, so I think last week I was looking for so I identified these lows here, right? This low here. And I said, I think when I did my analysis, it was around this level. Right, so I said, because let's have a look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. So I probably did analysis around this level. So for me to take shorts on this position, I would have wanted to see a clear break past this level, come back up, retest, and then go short. Right. Instead, price rebounded from the level and pushed back up into this trend line. Right. So this is kind of almost the third touch of this trend line. And it's at this major daily zone here, right? So the zone wasn't clearly respected here. It kind of consolidated around the zone, but you can kind of see it had this big sell-off from this level, right? Came back up, and a massive sell-off from the level. Slowly came back up. It's currently retesting. So on the 4 hour time frame, I'd probably look for some rejections around this level. And if I see some confirmations to go short, then I'll probably take a short position here, because it might start this sort of range, right? Or what we might see is price might just find the momentum at this zone to then break past this trend line. And if it does and it comes back to retest it with rejection, then I'll look for a long position, right? Targeting these previous highs here. So that's my outlook on GBPNZD for this week. EURAUD, this one is just highlighted green because I'm still it's highlighted green because I'm in this trade, and I have it just to kind of manage my trade. So the level that, as I said in my recap video, right, so I closed off the majority of my position at this level here, right, and I highlighted the 1.57 level because it's a very important level if you look back at history, like way back in the past. And you could see as price was selling down, it kind of had this area of consolidation right at this level, and then it found momentum, it broke through, came back up, tested it with this long rejection. So we might actually see further sells from this level here, right? Or, you know, what we might see is price just find momentum and break past, retest, and then come back up to this trend line here, right? We don't know, we just have to kind of keep an eye on it. But I'm not looking for any trades on this pair as of yet, because I'm kind of happy with my setup on this so far for the year, so I'll just keep an eye on it to manage it, right? Moving on to EUROCHF. So on EUROCHF, what we had, so I think my analysis from the last week was we were in and around this, so let's see, so Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, right? Okay, so the week before, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So around here, I said we could probably see this buy, right? I didn't catch an entry here because I believe that's set up within the London's Asia session or London session. But I didn't catch an entry there. If I did, it had pretty decent rejections on the 4-hour, so I would have taken a trade here and targeted these previous highs, right? So what I looked at in price action for this pair was a break of this trend line, right? So price came into the level. This level here was pretty decently respected in the past, and it's a pretty decent 4-hour level, right? So what we saw was price made the push up, but it failed to make a higher high, right? It didn't break past these highs, and it didn't you know, push past it. Instead, you saw this big bearish engulfing candle, a little bit of consolidation, broke through the trend line with momentum, paused at the level, consolidated a bit for like a day, and then on Friday we saw a massive sell-off, right? So we could either see it just continue to sell all the way down to these probably lows, or we might see it respect this low here, bounce back up to the level. And if that happens and I see some rejection here, I'll probably look for a short position here and target these further lows, right? So that's what I'll be looking for on this pair. I'll just draw in this level here so it's a little bit clearer. So yeah, something like that. Obviously I wouldn't just sell just here. I'll wait to see some sort of price action that shows me rejection, and probably that we want to see a further push south, you know. So until I see that, I wouldn't be taking any trades, but I'll keep it on my list for the week. EURJPY. So this played out, as I said in my recap video yesterday, right? This played out almost exactly as predicted. So when I first did analysis, it was kind of way back here, right? And no, I tell a lie. This already formed, and I did my analysis somewhere within this range, probably like back here, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So we had this kind of, I don't know, I call it a flag pattern. We had this kind of flag pattern forming, right, where we're stuck in this wedge, pushing into these highs. And I said what we might probably see was a spike past the highs to try and take people's stops out, because there's a lot of people who would be selling in this area. Push past the highs, take out some stops, and then, you know, we'll see a push south, right? Illustrated by this kind of momentum arrow that I drew. So we saw the break past it. So what I'll be looking for on this pair now is either you know, it might break out of this and then go into this bigger range of consolidation, or we might see it come and test these highs illustrated by the zone, bounce, go back up to, it may not go all the way back up here, it might just come back into these lows. I don't know, we'll have to wait to see, right? But before I sell this pair, I'd like to see it push back up, show me some rejections that it wants to go you know, south, and if I see that, then I'll be looking for a long position, right? I mean a short position. So I'll just keep this on my radar and keep an eye on it. Euro USD. So this is playing out as I'd like to see. So I think I did my analysis back here. So Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Yeah, so back here is when I did my initial analysis. This was last week, Sunday. So what I'm looking for here is obviously a retest of these highs, right, in confluence with this trend line. So we have this trend line here connecting the daily lows, and it lines up nicely with this zone here, right? So I have my alert set for this pair. If it comes back into this level and it shows me some rejection on the lower time frames, then I'll look for a long position targeting previous highs, right? So this is playing out as expected, just keeping an eye on it. I might actually change this from red to yellow for this week because it might play out this week. I don't know, we'll see. But interesting setup there for me. CADJPY. So I think last week what I was looking for on this pair was a clear momentum move past a clear momentum move past these highs here. So we had this high here, didn't quite make it back here, but then it came back here, rejected, right? So you kind of have this tightening of price with this zone together with the trend line, and we want to see some kind of explosive move from here, right? So for me to be bullish on this pair, because it's in this sort of uptrend, even though it's within a range, I'd like to see it break past strongly, come back down, retest with rejection, and then look for long positions and target maybe these previous highs here, right? So kind of this level. Actually, you know what, let me just draw it in. So this sort of level around here, right? That would be interesting to me if that was to happen. I don't know, we'll have to see what the market brings, or what we could see similar to, I think it was GBPCHF. Yeah, similar setup to GBPCHF, right? So oh, where am I? What pair was I on? Yeah, CADJPY. All right, so it's a very similar setup to GBPCHF. So we had this massive sell-off, right? Then we had the recovery. It kind of paused. This looked probably a bit higher than 61.8. Let me have a look. So from absolute top to absolute bottom. Yeah, okay, so this might be like a 70 something. I don't know. I don't have it on. I only pay attention to the 30.382, sorry. 50% and then 0.618, right? Those are the levels I pay attention to for the most part. So but there's another fib level in here. I can't remember what percentage level it is, but anyway, so we had that recovery, right? And the point is that it is stuck within a range kind of between the 618 and the this 382 level, right? So kind of have this range forming. So what I'd like to see on this pair, right, for me to be bullish on it, would be a strong momentum move past the level, come back down, retest, and then go long, or it may just respect the consolidation area that it's in, right? So we have obviously resistance, support. So, you know, I'd like to see it probably break this steep trend line, you know, come back up, retest it with rejection, maybe these highs here or something. I'm not sure if it will come all the way back up to the zone, but if I see some sort of lower highs, lower lows being formed, then I'd look for short positions on this pair, right, and trade within this wider range on the daily. So anyway, that's CADJPY. USDCHF. Alright, so this analysis hasn't really changed from a couple of weeks ago. So we have the this downward trend that's happening on the daily. Price is currently in a recovery, right? So I think I drew in a minor level here just to pay attention to it. Okay, so what I'd like to see from here is still as same as last week, right? I want to see it push back up into this zone here, testing these lows, right? And a confluence with the trend line, and that would probably be a nice 50% fib from highs to lows. Let me just extend this a little bit. Yeah, cool. So so yeah, if I see this setup this week, probably with some rejection, then I'll look for short positions from this level here, right? Yeah, so you know, analysis is still the same as before. So I'll just be keeping an eye on this one, USDJPY. So I think this one's a little bit messy. So I think I'll just drop to the lower time frame because it'll be a little bit clearer. So we had that long-term trend line, right? You know, it's obviously kind of wicking past it just a little bit, but what I was looking for on this pair, and I didn't catch an entry, even though there was quite a few opportunities too. I wasn't sure. With all the news and stuff that was happening on the USD, I wasn't sure what it was going to do. But so I didn't take a trade. But this would have been a nice entry here off of the daily level, confluence with the trend line, downtrend. So I would have taken a trade at this level here, targeting these previous lows. I would have probably scaled out some of the position, maybe at, you know, at these kind of levels here, you know, probably here. You know, but you know, I didn't catch an entry here, so and since then price has kind of been consolidating, right? So we might see further consolidation. It might come back down to the level, might push back up to the trend line, might just find some momentum here, break through, come back down, retest, and then go. I don't know, just have to kind of wait and watch to see what price action or what the market kind of does this week. But you know, the analysis is still kind of the same. It's a little bit messy, not 100% clear, but I just thought I'd keep it on my list anyway. All right, so moving on to AUDCAD. Right, so we have this daily high here, this resistance level. Price broke past it. You see it did kind of wick back into the level, but I'd like to see, you know, a full retest, right? So a full move past it, come back down, retest it, and if that happens, then you know, I'll look for a long position, right? So I have an alert set on this level, right? So just waiting to see if that plays out. Then if I see some rejections on the lower time frames, then I'll look for long positions here, right? AUDNZD. So this analysis is playing out as expected as well. So we had this trend line here. Also in my previous analysis, I had this steeper trend line here, right? Just connecting these highs, right? And what I looked for on this pair was an initial break of this trend line here, right? So initial break of this trend line here. And when that happened, I was looking for a further bullish move, right? Because my outlook on the odd was predominantly bullish, I thought we might see a reversal of this downtrend happening on this pair. So I waited to see what happened at this trend line, and this trend line was also broken. It respected it for a little while, it tried to drop, but then didn't have enough sellers in the market. So instead what we saw, it broke through, and then it broke past this zone here, right? So what I want to see from this level is probably a continued move up, maybe to test these highs here, right? That would be a pretty decent zone. Maybe come back down, show some rejection on the lower time frames, and then I'll look for a long position probably around these levels, right? Because my bias now on this pair is obviously to the long side or upside. So just keep an eye on it to see if that plays out. Have it highlighted in red because it might take some time for it to play out, but we'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. NZDCAD. So my analysis based on last week was I had a long bias, right? So we had this sort of long uptrend happening on the daily time frame, and then price broke these highs, right? When price did break these highs, I'll look for it to come back down into this level here, retested with rejection, and then look for long positions, right? But that didn't happen. Instead, what we saw was a momentum move down, breaking the trend line, also breaking the zone. So what I'm looking for now is price to show me that it wants to go short, maybe come into these levels, bounce, come back up, retest my level here. And if that happens, I mean, I don't know, right? But if it does happen and show some rejection at this level, then, you know, I might look for short positions, because I have a feeling that this is probably trying to, you know, correct this longer term trend that it's been on. But I don't know, you know, I'll just have to keep an eye on it and see. You know, it might drop into the level, show some rejection, and that might be a pretty decent long trade, but I'll have to find some sort of confluence at this zone here to take long positions, purely based on how strong this bearish move happened, right? Because so price kind of creeped up, and then we had a nice big strong bearish candles forming. So I don't know, I just thought the pair is interesting, so I'll keep it on my list and see if anything sets up this week. NZDJPY. All right, so so this one, so a few things can happen, right? Obviously by the chart, my chart in here. So basically what I'm looking at is we had these highs here that formed this minor resistance level on the daily, right? Obviously we've been in this massive uptrend, then price peaked this week, and then we saw this massive bearish move happening this week, right? So we had, this might have been Monday, that was Monday's candle, then it consolidated for a couple of days, and then we saw the bears obviously take over and had this massive bearish candle happen on Friday. So a couple of things could probably happen from here, right? First thing is obviously it could just kind of stick in a range, right? And if it sticks in this range, then I'll probably take buy positions based off of rejections of this now turn support resistance, now turn support level. And if I see that, then I'll take long positions, right? Obviously the clearer move is to see a nice strong bullish move off of this, come back down, retest, and then look for long positions. Or what we might see, because of this big bearish move, big bearish candle, we might actually see momentum continue, break past this level, come back up, retest, and then drop, right? So there's a few options that could probably happen on this pair. For now, let's see if there's maybe a trend line in here. I don't know. So yeah, that would have been a steeper trend line, right? And it broke the trend line. So I don't know. I'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens, right? I'll just draw this level in here as well. So we have this sort of level here. All right, those are some pretty decent daily highs, and then we have these lows here as well. So I'll just draw that in as well. I'll just kind of, I don't know, I'll just keep an eye on it and see what the market shows us this week, and if there's any kind of respect of these levels, and if there is, then I'll look for some opportunities, right? But right now I have a feeling it might actually try to push lower. So just keep an eye on this pair this week. NZDUSD, which is the last pair. So again, very similar to the other NZD pairs. It's been on this long uptrend for a while. You know, kind of had this trend line here. I don't know if it's worth anything, but I'll be keeping an eye on it. But you know, same sort of thing, right? So we had price form this level here, it broke past it, right? Actually, if you zoom in here just a little bit, probably see that it broke past it, came back down and retested, and then had this push up, right? And it came back down, retested it again, but it failed to bounce, right? It failed to make a new higher high off of rejecting this level in the past, right? So instead, what we saw on Friday was a strong bearish candle breaking through the level. So what I figure we might see this price actually move back into the trend line, maybe retesting this sort of zone here. And if I see that with some rejection, then I'll look for a long position, right? I don't know if it'll probably make it all the way back up to these highs. It might, you know, I don't know what will happen, right? But it might actually just come down here, bounce, respect this level, and then break through the longer term trend line, and then just drop the, you know, just continue dropping, right? So I'll keep an eye on it. What I will do actually in this instance is probably just draw in a smaller zone here for these. Yeah, that's probably a pretty decent zone on the lower time frame. I'll drop to the forward to just take a quick look. Yeah, okay, so right, so we had this massive rejection here on the forward and a strong-ish buy off of the level, right? Obviously yeah, there you go. So that's a little bit clearer. So yeah, I don't know, maybe we might see that sell into this level. Maybe, I don't know, but if that happens with some rejection, then I'll look for a long position here, right? Or as I said, we might just see it break and crash lower. I don't know, because it's been in this uptrend for a while, right? Anyway, so I think that wraps up the analysis, or my analysis for this week. Obviously, if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and join me on my my trading journey. Yeah, hopefully 2021 will be a pretty decent trading year for all of us. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you for the recap video next week.